Hello everyone, thank you for joining us today. Let me share my screen. So today we're going to talk about time zones, what's the absolute minimum you need to know about them, and what you can do in your web application to make sure it handles time zones properly. I will show you the use case and what is useful and what you need to know. In every database programming language is able to work with both local time zones and UTC time. UTC or GMT time zone is Greenwich Meridian time, is shows us what time is in Greenwich right now, and this is where we start. This is offset 0, and this is how we based all our times all around the world. So, for instance, you can see that there is a UTC timestamp function in MySQL that returns time that is in Greenwich now, which I assume is London time as well, obviously. And the local time here on the east coast of US is 11. So this is why it's called GMT -4 right now during the summertime when daylight savings time is in effect, and in winter it will be GMT -5. So the proper way to handle time zones is as follows. You need to store dates and times, basically time, in your database in UTC format, in GMT time zone. So, for instance, let's think about webinars we're having right now, right? I am trying to schedule all of them at the same time, so it is less confusion. And when I send an email, I always say like webinar time is 11 a.m. US Eastern time. But what would be really user-friendly if in that email we had your local time, depending on where you are. I mean, to do that, we will need to collect the information about your current time zone where you reside right now. So we don't have that information, but I will show you how it could be done potentially. Okay, so that's data in our webinars table. You can see that when is a webinar time, I specify 15 hours, which is GMT time. So what we need to do now, we need to, based on the user's time zone, we need to show this time in their local time. Let me show how it can be done. Let's go to our application. If you go to users, you can see we have a couple of users where time zone field is populated. So user is on US Eastern time. Time zone name is America, New York, and username to user is in California, 3 hours behind. So we logged in as a test user right now. So if you go to webinars, you can see that it shows webinar time as 11 a.m. And if we log out and log on as a user, and go to webinars again, it shows webinar time in California local time, which is 8 a.m. So how do we do this? First of all, we need to store date and time in UTC format, which is the local time in Greenwich. So that's how we do it. That's how we store those dates. Second, we need to know what time zone our user is. So the list of time zones is in time zones table. There are like 150. Use some change of them, and you can use it in your application as well. Yeah, some of them can be confusing, but it's a full list of time zones, and it's available on PHP's website. And I think it's a common list of time zones that works exactly the same way in on-programming languages, even in JavaScript. So we need to make sure that our users have a time zone field populated. And then when it comes to display when field in webinars table, right here, we use view as custom, and we adjust that UTC daytime value according to the current time zone of our user. Let me show you how it's done. And it works in a very similar way in PHP and Esperanto.net, even less code in .NET. But let me show you PHP code first. So we're talking about webinars, right? Webinars when field, and we need to do view as custom. First of all, we need to create a datetime object. I mean, there are multiple ways to do that. I just show you like one of the easiest. You can see that to the date time value as stored in the database, I'm adding space plus 00. This is how PHP deals with time zones. If you need to specify what time zone your time is, you need to add a space plus, and it can be 00 and can be something like this. This is how you tell PHP what time zone we're dealing with right now. And this means we're dealing with UTC time. Then I go to the users table and retrieve current logged user data. And this is our time zone. So using datetimes object function set time zone, we specify time zone based on what we have in the login table. And then I just format that datetime in a format that you see on the web page, which is a month, date, month as a text representation, day, year, hours, minutes, and AM, PM. So this is how you do it in PHP. Again, in .NET, it's even easier. So it's just a little bit easier. For instance, we convert current date time to Eastern Standard Time, EST. Again, instead of using that abbreviation, you can instead of using hard-coded, you also can retrieve that value from the login table and specify it here. It's the same idea. So if you do not know the time zone of the user, what you can do about it? In JavaScript, we have an option to retrieve the current user time zone. So the web browser has access to operating system on the local user computer, and we can retrieve that information. So let me show you how it can be done. It's not that difficult, and combined with some other things, yeah, we can certainly do that. We just, okay, first of all, on our registration page, there is a list of time zones. And if I log out and click register, sign up, you can see that there is a drop-down list with all the time zones. And you can see that it's already selected America, New York for me. Okay, let me show you line of the code. It's just like literally one line of the code that retrieves the current time zone. Yeah, here it is. Obviously, I found it on the internet. So this first line is gets us the name of the time zone. So what you can try, you can just copy this line of the code and run it in your web browser using the console. Okay, let me show you what I mean here. You press F12 and it opens console for you, and you paste this line of the code. That's not like this. I probably just do not assign it to anything, so just like this. Yeah, here it is. Yeah, you can see that it returned, it says locale, it's English, Gregorian calendar, numbering system, and time zone is America, New York. So yes, we can get this code in JavaScript. We need to pass it somehow to PHP. We need to save it either in session variable or better yet in the database. So I think the best option is probably still use a registration page and like how it works with time zones. This is what you need to know. You store time in UTC format. You need to figure out the time zone. Again, send an email to a guest user. It's probably something like, if you have their email, then you probably have an account. If they have an account, then they probably can save their time zone in a database.